Well, boys, I'm very late to class this morning. We have a couple of bikes to choose from. The R6, the R9, the V4, we have the H2, the Grom, and the 698. But on days like these where I'm a little bit late, I tend to go for a little bit more powerful of machines. Well, if you guys don't know me, my name is Thought Taken, and this is my 2025 Ducati Panigale V4. It's been a bike I've had in my garage for quite a little bit, but I haven't ridden that much due to a couple little factors I might talk about in this video. Regardless of all of that, I'm starting my final semester of college, and so I thought today, since I'm running a little bit late, probably shouldn't be talking this much, but I thought I'd ride my Ducati Panigale V4 to school. Making over 200 horsepower, it's going to be a little bit difficult to be late to class today. Oh yeah, alright. I've literally not ridden this bike all summer. Let me show you guys. So up until yesterday, I only had 2,600 miles on this bike, and pretty much all of that was from early spring. That's 2,600 miles. And now this bike has only a total of 3,600 miles. So you would think, like, Matthew, why are you barely riding your bike? Well, it's mainly because I had a bunch of other motorcycles. This one is mainly just for more cold weather, so it's been a while since I've ridden this bike. Over this past weekend, I did have this bike out. We rode all the way from Cleveland to Columbus, and then Cleveland to Toledo. So that's where that extra 1,000 miles came from. Literally 1,100 miles, I think, in 2 days. It was ridiculous. And we are fully up on gas. I forgot, I guess I filled up last time I put the bike away, so I guess we're good. Pulled over here really quick so I can show you guys something now. I know I'm late, but let me just explain something to you guys really quick. So when I took this bike on that series of road trips, it got filthy. I mean, we were going through water, we were going through dirt, taking the Panigale in places it should never be taken before. And so I washed it earlier this morning, and so that's why she looks a little bit better, but I did not, unfortunately, have time to do the chain. So the chain is slightly out of spec, is unfortunate. So we are riding a Ducati that was not properly maintained. Oh well, you know, these things happen. But a major reason why I haven't been riding this bike, or why this bike doesn't really make for a good commuter, is the amount of heat that this bike gives off. A lot of people have the misconception that this bike overheats a lot. You know, I made a series of videos last summer talking about the H2 and how people don't really talk about how that bike actually overheats. So the H2 has a supercharger that doesn't have a proper cooling mechanism, so that bike just compounds heat, and it's like a runaway system. Ducatis, contrary to popular belief, don't overheat. They don't actually fit, like, the engine is doing its job and cooling itself. It has these giant radiators in the front. The only issue that people have with this bike is how it dispels of that heat, and it does that by dumping all of the heat right onto the user. See all these fins and these cutouts right here? See how it literally has a header for the exhaust right here? All of that heat accumulates right about here, which is where your legs sit when they're bent in, which is why I haven't been riding this bike much in the summer. It's more of a colder weather bike, but that's okay because we have all 4 seasons here in Ohio, so it's fall now, and it's perfect. It makes for the perfect commuter to school. Oh my god, you have to be so careful with this bike though. So the problem I have is I own a lot of motorcycles. I have about 5 real motorcycles, and then I guess 6 if you include the Grom. I don't know if I personally include the Grom though, so that's up to you. But when I'm constantly switching between all my different bikes, you know, I like to enjoy every motorcycle that I own. Kind of miss out on mastering the motorcycle, which is only earned through seat time. And when I'm switching through a bunch of different motorcycles that all handle differently, I kind of miss out on the mastery of a motorcycle. Really reminding myself of how this thing operates and how awesome it really is. It's really difficult to hop on a Panigale, on a Ducati especially, and appreciate it for what it is, how different it is from the other motorcycles that I own. A motorcycle's strengths are hidden in its subtleties, and this bike, its main strength is how it turns into a corner. Of how easy it just glides in and out through a turn, which is a really hard thing to enjoy and find out on the street, but it's that 1% at a time, that 1% of enjoyment that you get out of this bike that makes it worth it. That makes it worth riding a 200 horsepower motorcycle on the street, dealing with all the problems like the heat production and the cost of maintenance and everything like that. It's that 1% of the time. Finally, time for the worst freeway exit in all of Ohio. I already know I'm going to be cooking my balls alive. Oh my god. This highway exit sucks just because it takes so long and it's always so crowded with traffic. Your boy is currently a 5th year senior at Baldwin Wallace University, finishing up his environmental science degree, bachelor's degree. Yeah, I know, 5th year senior, I get it, super senior status at this point. A little bit of explanation is I slowed down my studies a little bit, still full-time student all the way through college, but I started taking a little bit less credits so that way I could balance it a little bit better with social media that I had going on. And making videos is very time consuming, and it's hard to balance that with classes, and luckily I think I ended up making the right decision. Social media has literally paid for my way through school, and it's allowed me to do really cool stuff with like my bikes and moving out of my parents' house and things like that. So yeah, I'm a 5th year senior, and it's costing me a little bit more money than it would have, but I'm also, you know, balancing with social media. So plus I know a lot of 5th year seniors these days, so I feel like it's not that big of a deal. You know, rather get the education and finish it while you can. No, I'm good, thank you. And that's something I really want to talk about, is the importance of education in our society and why I think it's a good idea to stay in school. You know, I've filmed a lot of these ride to school videos over the years, and I've kind of talked about my waning interest in education over the years, like why I feel like college isn't what it used to be and why I don't feel very satisfied with the classes I have. That's all fair, and I think those are still very solid criticisms that I made that stand up to this day. I don't think school very much allows me to feel like I'm flourishing. It always feels like it's more or less holding me back. I've had a lot of classes that make me feel like I have to think very literally and doesn't allow me to actually debate and talk about ideas. But this semester has been different. After only 1 week of classes, I've had a teacher that's already opened my eyes a little bit and made me think in a different way than I would have otherwise. There's definitely, it's that 1%. Kind of like how this bike doesn't allow me to really flourish and have a lot of fun on it all the time. It's kind of like with school. It's worth it for that little extra bit. But I still wish it was all like that, especially with how much money you're paying. I don't think it's a good idea to just fully write off school just because of you're not getting 100% of what you want. What you're really going after is that yummy piece of paper, that degree. It's that yummy piece of paper you call a degree that really allows you to actually have some opportunity in this world. So 4 or 5 years ago, I decided to come to Baldwin Wallace University for a degree in environmental science, a 4-year bachelor's degree. Now, over the years, when I first started doing environmental science, I chose that because that's what I felt passionate about. I loved learning about energy. I loved learning about the atmosphere, how everything kind of intertwines in itself. Nature. I love nature. Love being outside, love all that stuff. I loved how a lot of the labs are outside. Always enjoyed doing that stuff. I mean, like, my main hobby in my life is motorcycles. It kind of makes sense. I like being outside. I like feeling the sun. I like feeling the wind. It's always been intertwined to who I am. But in the most recent years, I've kind of lost, like, what I wanted to do. And I started making money from social media. I started making money from YouTube. I'm like, oh, like, I may not actually even need this degree. And I don't think that's a really healthy line of thinking, because I don't think YouTube or, like, social media in general should be, like, a real job. Scary word, I know, job. My end goal with social media has always been like, I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna go do something productive for society. I think I outlined that in my last ride to school video, which was my ride to finals on the H2. Talked about a lot of this stuff where, like, social media doesn't really feel satisfying in a lot of ways. I think human brains, they want to feel, it's like, that's why we have societies, is like its primal human brain wants to feel productive. It wants to work with other people. I want to feel like I'm doing something that's moving society forward, when I feel like in a lot of ways social media moves society backwards in a sense. You have all this, like, rage bait and all this, like, online pornography. It completely destroys people. And so I've spent the better part of the last few months, ever since I made that ride to finals on the H2 video, I've been kind of taking a look at myself and taking a look at the content that I make and seeing how I can try to get away from that and try to contribute a little bit more positively to society through my social media, and seeing that maybe if I can change that mentality about myself. I just want to feel like I'm doing something good for the world while also having fun and doing the things I enjoy. And I think I've accomplished that for the most part. Definitely toned down the rage baity style of content. Definitely toned down a lot of the skits and the short form stuff, which is really difficult. Like, making successful short form TikToks and Instagram Reels is really difficult when you're not cheating. But I kind of just stopped concerning myself with it. I just kept telling myself that, like, look, social media doesn't work out, bro. Just get a job after college. And, like, it doesn't matter the success of it anymore. And once I kind of stopped worrying about the success, there was a little bit of a slowdown for a little bit, but then now everything feels kind of fine. I don't know, things just have a funny way of working out when you stay true to yourself and don't try to fake anything for clout or the internet. Maybe that's a lesson out of that. I don't know. Either way, I'm still very much down to get a job after college, though. I was actually looking into maybe mastering in meteorology, like going back for my master's in atmospheric sciences, or maybe potentially going to law school. I can't tell you how many traffic attorneys I've had over the years to get me out of tickets. I've come to really respect what they do, and perhaps that's something I'm kind of interested in doing myself. Anyway, here's why I'm parking for class. And there's students here, so I'm going to start talking real softly. A little bit late, but it's probably fine. Grabbed myself a little Red Bull for class, so I don't have to sleep my way through it. Dude, this class is so boring. It's like online terrorism course where we look at statistics and crap. It's been so boring so far. But your boy needs the credits to graduate, so that's what we're doing. Alright. I've gotten a little bit more comfortable over the years. I remember mentioning in one of my first ride to school videos that I was not comfortable riding my $20,000 sport bike to school. I just don't trust the college kids showing out here. And to be honest, I still kind of feel that way. But I've also gotten a little bit more comfortable with these things, realizing that, like, I'm not going to be on this planet forever, bro. Like, these things are what are important to me these days. I'd rather ride the thing and use it rather than just sit on it and have it collect dust in my garage. Yeah, that means this thing's probably going to get scratches and it's going to get used, and it already kind of is. I mean, not even 5,000 miles in this thing, it's already getting a ton of scratches on it. Oh, my back, dude. 3 days straight of riding this thing, my back is annihilated. It's kind of what's been shaping my riding philosophy this summer, is that, like, I'd rather ride the bike. I don't really care about any of the extra stuff, like the recklessness or the wheelies. These are vehicles. They have the desire to be ridden. They're street bikes. Yes, they have race bike elements, but at the end of the day, I'd rather put the miles on the bike as safely as possible and to actually use the thing rather than just sit on it. It's really hard to talk about this stuff without talking about the elephant in the room. As of recording this video 2 days ago, my buddy Jixra got hit by a car in Cleveland. He's got some internet clout. I mean, I feel like a lot of people know. People who probably watch my page already know this already. Like, it's not like a breaking news story or anything. But I don't know any of the details, to be honest with you. I don't really care to go into the details. What happened is his own business. But what I will say is I had nothing to do with him coming back to Cleveland a second time. The way he uploads his videos kind of makes it look like he was staying with me at the time. I got a bunch of people DMing me asking if he crashed on the R9. What happened is, as of recording this video, last weekend he came to visit me and I hosted him. He stayed with me for a little bit. And based off of the videos that he posted himself, you can see I kind of started to become a little bit adverse to, like, kind of questioning why I brought him. I feel like I've changed a lot in this past year, and while I still consider him a friend, I was not in a hurry to ride with him again. So why he came back to Cleveland a second time, back to back in a week, I'm not entirely sure. I had nothing to do with it. I had no communication with him on the way back. He was not staying with me. I don't know where he was staying. I don't know what he was doing. All I know, he was hosting a bike meet here while me and my boys made a planned trip up to Toledo, Ohio. It was nowhere near him. I had nothing to do. He wasn't riding my bikes. Apparently he drove his truck up from Texas and was staying up here on his own accord. I thought everything was a bit strange, and that's why I'm kind of like holding back on the details. I'm just stating the obvious because I don't really want to get too deep into it. But over this past summer, I've been getting these little reminders of, like, why I ride safe, why I should ride the way that I'm riding. I'm just glad the dude's not dead. I don't know how I would be able to process that if, God forbid, that happened, because I don't think I processed a lot of the bad stuff that's happened this year very well, and I'm only human, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a great deal of practice with loss. I was talking to my friend Hayden from California. He was telling me he's lost a lot more people. He's lost countless. He couldn't even count all the people that have died in his life on both his hands. And I don't have much practice with this stuff, bro. I don't, admittedly. And as much as I want to stand here and try to be the strong guy and tell people how, or like be inspiring and tell them what to do, all I could do is really just go based off of what my last video was, what I was talking about in my last video, and that's smiling through the pain and smiling through the trouble, and just it's hard. It's one of those times I'm being tested. Got you? I mean, this is really the stuff I've been thinking a lot about lately. Is you just get tested time and time again in your life. Your morals, your values, they're constantly getting tested by people. And that's just, I think, something going forward I am not willing to budge on. If I want to go fast, I'm taking it to the track. If I want to ride in the street, I'm going to be riding chill. If I want to do stunts, it's going to be in a parking lot on the ground. I feel like it's a pretty reasonable way to look at it. I just love motorcycles too much to, like, be willing to give it up. Like, there just is no reasonable way that I would ever give up bikes. Like, yes, it's a dangerous hobby, but there's just ways to go about it that avert as much risk as possible. Just tired of that conversation being twisted that way. That's like, oh, if you don't want any risk, just don't ride bikes at all. Completely ignoring the fact that weaving between traffic and doing stuff like that, it's always end up going to eventually lead to a crash. I love bruh, and I'm sending as much love as I can his way.
He sounds like he's going to be staying in Cleveland for a little bit. He's staying at the Cleveland Clinic main campus. Funny enough, it's actually, my mom doesn't work at the main campus, but my mom does work at a nurse for Cleveland Clinic. So she knows that the hospital food there sucks. So I did offer him as soon as he's able, whenever possible. I think he's getting a lot of surgeries done, so he's not going to be able to eat real food for a while. But I did tell him I'm here to support him. I can bring him pillows, some better pillows than what the hospital has, and whatever food he wants, I'm here for him. I wasn't exactly getting along with him the week leading up to his second time coming back to Cleveland, but it's times like these, times like stress, times where people's lives are on the line. I'm here for him. Nothing but love. Last class of the day is going to be ecology. I can't believe I used to be so paranoid that I wouldn't ride my bike to school just because I was worried about people would be messing with it. I guess when I was younger, like, I always thought that bikes like these were really out of reach and unobtainable. And then being, you know, a young 21, 22-year-old, finally getting my hands on a Panigale V4 or an R1 or something like that, it was exciting to say the least. But to this day, I'm still slightly overprotective of my items. I don't like to beat on them too hard. I make sure I keep them clean, keep them nice. But my entire philosophy around, like, using the bike, it's a vehicle at the end of the day. It's not going to last forever, these sport bikes. I can try to make it last as long as I want. You know, I want to put 50,000, 60,000 miles on this bike. At the rate that it's going, probably not anytime soon, but just use the bike. Just ride it at a reasonable pace, but ride it. How rare is it that I get an open road with some twisties with nobody on it? This is what I'm talking about, baby. Free and open range to actually use the V4 for once. All right. I am nowhere near an expert. It is still fun, though. Woo! Whoa, she's not behaving right. Okay, that was weird for a second. The throttle was like being choppy, like I was like, okay, cool. Thanks, V4. Thanks for being so predictable and nice. I really love those little stretches of road where there's like no crosswalks, there's no cars possibly able to pull out. The worst you gotta worry about is like a deer, which is inevitability. To worry about like a wild animal running out at you. Or actually yesterday there was a water main break that me and my friend were going through some corners. Dude, I almost wiped out. Like, you can never go truly 100% on the street. Like that, there's just no way, especially not with my luck. I am the world's unluckiest lucky person of all time. Big reason why I don't gamble, actually. I ever tell you guys the story of when I went to Las Vegas and why I don't gamble? Like, why I'm big anti-gambling guy? It's because I have truly the worst luck out of anybody you've ever met. When I went to California last summer, I had a layover in Las Vegas. You guys know how they have those slot machines at the Las Vegas airport? Like, as soon as you get off the plane, they have those like slot machines that are right there, right? Well, I had about $5 in my pocket, and I decided to try my luck at the Las Vegas slot machines in the airport. I figured, you know, the slot machines in the airport are probably like the bigger chance of getting a payout. So I waddled over to the slot machine, put in my $5, and I was just getting ready to hit the spin button. I saw it said $5 in the bottom right. I was like, all right. I smashed the spin button. It asked me on the screen, and it says, are you sure you want to spin? I was like, of course I do. Smash the spin button again. All of a sudden, it did this fire animation across the entire screen. It went like whoosh. And in the bottom right, my $5 went from $5 to 0. Didn't spin the fucking machine. Went from $5 to 0. It ate my money. That was it. No more money for Matthew. Woo. And ever since that fateful day, I figured out very quickly I am not a gambler. In fact, I think there is a long line of unluckiness in my family. You know, both my grandparents on my mom's side escaped Poland during World War II. I believe my grandfather earned his citizenship fighting in the U.S. Army. Long line of unluckiness, but I remember my dad telling me a story about him fighting a fire and falling off the roof and falling right on his back and taking months to recover from that. At least in his case, he was saving a life rather than doing something stupid like I do. Long lineage, long history of unluckiness, which is why I try not to test it too much. Thankfully, the V4 held up enough, even with that little messed up chain. It's okay. My pants, though, probably need to be changed. They're a little wet. Anyway, make sure you guys like the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya. Bye-bye.